Stories of the Bible. Jesus feeds the 5,000. This is Jesus,
Heyo!
who is the Son of God.
YouTube. Thank you very much. Check testing 1, 2. Sophie, if you've got your phone somewhere, can you check that as well, please? Check testing 1, 2. Check. We're right in the middle of no interesting sporting events. Am I right? Am I right? There's no interesting sporting events happening right now. So, which is a little bit squirrely for me in September, October. Drew, how you making out? Okay, I'll keep babbling. Keep babbling. So, yeah, we're welcoming people. Thank you, folks. When you find a spot, we're doing our best to kind of get little bubbles for you. We appreciate. Oh, there's a face I recognize. Hey, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a long time. Welcome. Oh, that's right. You're from St. Thomas. That's right. Yeah, I forgot all about that. Okay, good. It's good to see your masked face. Is that, yeah? I'd like to sit. Right now, I've got this is the best spot in the house, actually, because I can take my mask off. This really is the best. You guys will say, I'd hate to have his job. Right now, you may want to have my job, because I can speak up. Anyway, welcome. We are still just doing our test. If anybody's thinking. You can hear everything, Sophia? So she's got volume out there. Okay? When everybody's ready, the band's ready to go, I'm going to walk off stage, and then we'll come back. Drew, are you good with all of this so far? Drew, you good? You're good? Okay, I'm going to step off stage for a second. Okay, hello everyone. Welcome here to Explore Church. If you are gathering here, we've got a number of people that are here already today. We are so excited that you can hang out with us. I trust that it's a good morning. Thank you for braving the cold and driving through the wet. I was soaked here about a half an hour ago. We were in and out an awful lot, and I'm glad I've dried off just a little bit. For those of you who are checking out on our YouTube live page, welcome. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I trust we have a good morning. We're going to do something that we haven't done in a long time, and I hope you can give me a big cheer, but we're going to play and sing music. Woo! It's all good. And we're excited about that. The band has been kind of rehearsing for the last couple of months. They've been binding it the bit. Every once in a while we thought, okay, maybe we can start. Maybe today's the day. Today is the day. Thank you so much. So welcome. My name's Kirk Harper. I'm pastor here at Explore Church here in St. Thomas. I trust you have a great day. I'm going to turn the next chunk of time over to the band.
You all stand if you'd like and join us. Up to you.
There is one reason why we're gathered here. Your love is causing us to sing. All of your people through your Son brought in. Sinners before the Holy King. The Church of God, washed by blood. We love you, Father, God of all our God forever. We praise you, Jesus, Christ the Lord, the Son, our Savior. We're here together in your Holy Spirit gathered for your glory. There's a foundation that we're building on. It's rooted in Jesus Christ alone. Every believer firmly fixed upon our everlasting cornerstone. Of God, built by love. We love you, Father, God of all our God forever. We praise you, Jesus, Christ the Lord, the Son, our Savior. We're here together in your Holy Spirit gathered for your glory. One body, one baptism, one hope to which we have been called. One faith, one Lord, one Spirit, one sovereign ruler over all. One body, one baptism, one hope to which we have been called. One faith, one Lord, one Spirit, one sovereign ruler over all. We love you, Father. We praise you, Jesus. We're here together for your glory. We love you, Father, God of all our God forever. We praise you, Jesus, Christ the Lord, the Son, our Savior. We're here together in the Holy Spirit gathered for your glory. When darkness tries to roll over my bones, when sorrow comes to steal the joy I own, when brokenness and pain is all I know, I won't be shaken, I won't be shaken. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. She no longer has a place to hide. I am not a captive to the lies. I'm not afraid to leave my past behind. I won't be shaken. I won't be shaken. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. Well, there's power that can break up every chain. There's power that can empty out a grave. There's resurrection power that can save. Power in your name. Power in your name. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. Standing in your love. No, my fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. We're reaching out to welcome you, God. Fill this place again with your Son. Flood our thoughts with wonder and awe. Give us a greater glimpse of a never-changing God. Till all we want and all we need is found in you, found in you, Jesus. Everything glory is found in you, found in you. Open wide our hearts now to yours. Every beat bow down to your love. We would sing like never before. Give us a greater glimpse of a never-changing God. Sing this with me. Till all we want and all we need is found in you, found in you, Jesus. Everything glory is found in you, found in you. And in your presence there is freedom. in your presence we are made whole. Yeah. And in your presence there is freedom. And in your presence we are made whole. Come on, sing this out with me. All we want and all we need is found in you. Found in you, Jesus. Every victory is found in you. Found in you. All we want and all we need is found in you. Found in you, Jesus. Every victory.
That was awesome. Thanks, man. Really appreciate that. It's been a long time, way too long. So thank you so much. If you're at home and you were enjoying that, I hope it encouraged your hearts. I'm not sure how it came through, but it came through really well here today. Look, I just want to thank people for coming. I know it has been a long 6 and a half months, and it's been tough on a lot of us. And what I want to do is I just want to say how much we appreciate you connecting and staying engaged over all these months, and I trust that your heart has been encouraged. For those of you who are out in YouTube land, we really appreciate you reconnecting here. I hope it wasn't too difficult to find it, and we'll do our best to make it even easier to get to in the coming weeks. So I want to thank everybody for being here. But what I'd like to do is I just want to give just a couple of announcements, a couple of things just to catch you up on. There's always a few things that are happening around Explore Church. One of them is this: is if you have, and people have really stepped into this. I hate to say this first, but I got to get it out of the way because I don't like talking about it. Is if there's a lot of people who stepped up and said, "How can I be generous? How can I explore generosity at Explore Church?" And there's a couple of ways. We give by envelope. You can actually go on our website, explorechurch.org, and you can click the donate button, and that'll allow you to go to the road meeting as well. But there's also a pre-authorized that if you want to pick up one of those forms, they're at our welcome desk as you came in. That's where you will get that. You fill that out, and then they'll help you out. But anyway, enough of talking about that. Thank you for those who were so generous. Here's one. So here's how we want to give back a little bit. So what I want us to do is I want us to think about. We've had people come in today, and we've asked people to support Fresh Start Community Care here in town. We've done it a number of times. They're located at 118 Center Street. They're on the south side, right across from the multi-level parking there. If you've got any goods, any food or grocery cards or anything like that, please, this is a great time of year. This is Thanksgiving. We helped them out a little bit last year. We had 2 or 3 turkeys we were able to take over there as well. We can all be fixing and determined to go with it. If you could be so generous to do that this week, fantastic. If you brought it with you today, thank you so much. We've got some containers out there. I know some people are starting to bring some stuff. So if you forgot, you can either let me know and I can pick it up, or you can drop it at my house and I'll take it over later, or you can just go to 118 Center Street and just go up the stairs, front porch. There's a doorbell there. There's an intercom and say, "Hey, who is it?" And say, "Hey, it's Joe from, well, it's Kirk from Explore Church. I just want to do some food for you and for your guests." And they'll receive it joyfully. They'll open the door. They'll be masked. You'll be masked. They'll welcome you, thank you, and they'll take the food and you go. Thank you so much for doing that. We just want to get back to that. As far as that being said, now that we're kicking off and we're back together again, we're going to need some people. Some people have already volunteered to help. We've got chair setup, chair takedown. We've got wipe down chairs, wipe down handles, all the microphones and all that. The band will set that. But there's a lot of things that we've got to do to clean this facility back up so that the people who run this facility, their next guest of people, the next event can be ready for them. So we've got to do that. And if you can help or in any way, shape, or form in that, please let me know or let somebody that looks more important than you know or whatever, and they'll line you up and set you up and we'll get you on a bit of a routine. But thank you so much for serving now. Okay? Now, what I want to do is we've got kids in the house. And if you're at home and you've got kids in your house, instead of showing it, I probably will post it again. But here's what I'll do is what we're going to do is we're going to show the video right now because we got kids in the house and we want them to be ready. So this is Explore Church, Explore Kids time. I'll step off the stage. It's a 2-minute video or so just watch it, okay?
Stories of the Bible. Jesus feeds the 5,000. This is Jesus, who is the Son of God and the Savior of the world. While Jesus was on earth, he taught everyone about God's love. He did many miracles and healed people of their sickness. A huge crowd kept following him wherever he went because they saw his miraculous signs as he healed the sick. A crowd started to gather around Jesus. There were 5,000 men and many more women and children. Turning to Philip, he asked,
Hey, Philip!
"Where can we buy bread to feed all these people?" You see, Jesus was testing Philip, for he already knew what he was going to do. Philip replied, "Even if we worked for months, we wouldn't have enough money to feed them." Then Andrew spoke up. "There's a young boy here with 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. But what good is that with this huge crowd?" Jesus said, "Tell everyone to sit down." Then Jesus took the loaves, gave thanks to God, and gave them to the people.
There you go.
Afterward, he did the same with the fish, and they all ate as much as they wanted.
Want some more? I'm all good, thanks.
After everyone was full, Jesus told his disciples, "Now gather the leftovers, so that nothing is wasted."
You got it.
So they picked up the pieces and filled 12 baskets with scraps, left by the people who had eaten from the 5 barley loaves and 2 fish.
There you go. Thanks. There you go, kiddo. Is that good? All right. All right. So this is what we're going to try and do while we're together for the next little while until things just kind of shift again as far as the health concerns are. And if you have any kids and you're worried about what's going to happen here right now, we're not going to practice having them go to another class right now. We can't see it, but there's tables at the back set up for families with their kids, and there's Explore Kids packets moved there. They've got crayons and coloring things. They've got snacks. They got little worksheets that all have to do with the talk. There's the little video that they just viewed this morning. So if you have any concerns about that, that's the way we're going to do this over the next little while. So thank you for doing that. Have a good time, guys, back there. Really appreciate it. Okay, so here's what I want to do. So that video that they just talked about, what we want to talk about is just leading up to that. I don't want to get into that. I want to find out what's happening before that. And here's what we're talking about. We've just entered into this new series of We're Back Because. We're back because. Why are we back in a gathered situation? Why did we encourage people to come back and be a part of not just this venue, but this gathering of people? This is a great question. The answer to that, or the reason for that, is because people need compassion. Here's what I want you to think about for a second. I want you to think about all the different reasons why you felt you needed to start gathering together in a venue like this. Just start mulling it for a second. You may have thought about it over the last week. Should I, shouldn't I? Why should I go? Why shouldn't I go? Probably been thinking about that. I know I have since the day they said shut it down. So that's just me. That's just the way I think. It's just who I am. But think about those reasons. What I want us to do is I want to think about maybe some of the top couple of reasons that you and I might have around why we feel the need, why we're so compelled to come back and gather in an environment like this. For those of you who are still online, that's okay. Don't worry about it. Take your time. You'll be able to be a part of this when you get a chance. But just, I want you to think, what are some of those reasons why you would want to gather in a gathering like this? Here's kind of what I came up with. Just to be together in one room with other followers of Jesus again. Have you missed it? I think some of us have. Why? A big reason is because we got a lot of friends here. Who doesn't like hanging out with friends? We've been isolated for a while, and then there's friends that we've started to make, or we've tried to make, or we're on the brink of making, and then boom, it all kind of collapsed around us. One of the reasons we just want to be with other people who are kind of on the same journey together. I don't know about you, but that's the way I feel. The second thing I thought about it was this: the band. I miss the music. Chris, your team, I just missed the music. I missed everything. I know I was able to post one or two videos of professional people doing their bit, but it's not the same. There's something about live music, don't you think? Oh yeah, it's awesome. It stirs your heart. It motivates you. It gets you off your feet. It causes you to clap. How many of you people were clapping with the songs at home when I posted them on a video? Not many of us. Yeah, you may have hummed them a little bit, but when you get in an environment like this, oh yeah, it's so cool. It's much better in a crowd, live music. But here's the third thing I thought of. It just gives me a sense of freedom or normalcy, if that's a word. Now, I've got it here, and it didn't underline that it was a wrong word, so I think it's a word, normalcy. It's something that I've missed, right? We've all said, oh, no, I've missed. I just want to get back to the way it was. We miss it, don't we? Because I'm going to say this, isolation sucks, doesn't it? Oh, man. But we've had to do it. And there's lots of reasons why, and we know all the reasons, and we're not going to debate that or talk about that today. But those are all reasons why people, I think, for me anyway, the top three for me, of why I needed to gather again. Last month we spent 4 weeks talking about the crowd effect and how it's just supernaturally placed in the DNA of somebody who's a follower of Jesus just to get together and be in a crowd. It's just wired in us for some weird reason. Talked a little bit about that last week. We can talk about it again some other time. But here's what I want us to start thinking about. In this new series called We're Back Because, I want us to talk about why we're gathering again. I want us to answer that in 4 different ways. Today is probably one that catches us off guard. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to create just a little bit of tension for us all. Because one of the reasons I wanted to see other people, right? As much as I loved teaching in my t-shirt and my shorts and my bare feet all summer long, I loved that. And not having my family, not having to get up till 9:30. We were all up at 6 o'clock today, pulling our hair out, trying to get everything ready to get here today to set up and have this gathering. But there's more to it than that. What I want us to do is and he would preach and teach about the kingdom of heaven. That's why he was sent. That's why he came here. And he would go to all these little places, and he would stop and he would talk with people. When we read some other passages, we'll see that he would stop and he would heal people, he would give people water, he would give people drink, he would give them all kinds of things and meet their needs and minister to them. And here he was going throughout the region, that Middle Eastern Israel region, and he's loving on people the best way that he can as the Son of God here in the flesh on the planet. And that's what he did, day after day, day after day. And his disciples, these 12 guys that were handpicked by him, they followed him. They just, everywhere Jesus went, they just kind of tagged along. because he was teaching them, he was molding them, he was shaping them, he was engaging them in the kingdom of heaven. The people of Israel in that day, they desperately wanted to see the kingdom of heaven. They were promised it all throughout the Old Testament as they followed after God. And here they are at this time, they're seeing the incarnation, Jesus, God in the flesh, start to teach about, verbally teach about it. He says, you follow me and I'll show you what I'm talking about. And here are these 12 guys that he picked, and they're following him. And he's going and he's teaching people, he's loving on people, he's healing people's sicknesses and diseases and casting out evil spirits. And then he comes to this place and he says, okay, the 12 of you, this is what I've got for you. We're going to separate, we're going to part for a little while. It's needful for you right now, it's needful for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you out in two. So there's 12 of you, there's 6 groups of you, and I'm going to send you out to the highways and byways, and you're going to go to other little villages and towns. You're going to meet up with people, and you're going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to empower you with that. If you're looking for that section in the Bible, in Mark, it's Mark chapter 6, verses 7 through 13. I just rehearsed that for you. I just told you the story of it. If that's what you're looking for, that's where it is. So what he does is he sends them out. And people smarter than me, they who study this out, and they know a little bit better, they say they were gone for not just a day, but weeks. And some people actually believe they were gone for months to do this mission, this ministry on behalf of Jesus. And Jesus said to them, I want you to preach the kingdom of heaven. I want you to talk to people about their sin and the redemption that they can have, which means they can be set free from that their sin would be forgiven, and that they can come into a right relationship with God. He wanted them to do that. But he also wanted them to heal people, like literally physically pray over people, touch them, and have some of their infirmities and their sicknesses and their ailments actually healed, taken away. He gave them that power to do that. And then one that's really, really crazy, that's really bizarre for me, and maybe sometimes scares the life out of me. He says there's some people that are filled with evil spirits. Or your version may say, if you're reading a different version, it may say demons. And he says, I'm going to give you the power to cast them out, so those people can be set free from the brokenness that they're feeling. I'm giving you that power. So they go out and they do that, and they're gone for weeks and probably a few months, and then they start coming back. And when they come back, they make a beeline for Jesus. So what I want us to do is just, all that we're saying right now, I want you to put yourself in the place of being separated. We've just gone through 6 months or so of being separated from a gathering like this. Some of us from family, some of us from our workplaces, some of us from dear, dear friends, some of us even from our neighbors, right? We've been separated. We've been away. And then we're given the opportunity to gather again. And for me, I'm going, oh, thank you. Look at all the great people here. This is awesome. My heart is stirred. You think about these guys, they come back, they've been away from Jesus. And they've been away from each other, been away from Jesus, and they come back. What do you think they want to do? They want to tell their story. What happened? What happened while we're away? Have you ever had a chance to tell your story of the last 6 months? Some of you, it's filled with confusion and frustration and agony, right? But some of you, some really cool things happened in your life. Some things that you're bubbling. You just can't wait to tell somebody. If I could just get this person in the room for 5 minutes, I'll just unload on them. And that's what was happening with these guys. And what we do is we wind up in Mark chapter 6, verse 30 to 37. And here's what I want to do. I'm just going to read that real quick. Okay, it's Mark chapter 6, verse 30 to 37. Make sure I've got it here, guys. Okay, it says this in verse 30. It says, the apostles returned to Jesus from their ministry tour and told him all that they had done and taught. Then Jesus said, let's go off by ourselves to a quiet place and rest a while. And he said this because there were so many people coming and going that Jesus and his apostles didn't even have time to rest or time to eat. So they left by boat for a quiet place where they could be alone. But anybody who knows me, I love to circle those buts because there's always something that's coming. But many people recognized them and saw them leaving. And people from many towns ran ahead along the shore to go ahead of them. And Jesus saw the huge crowd as he stepped from the boat and he had compassion. He had compassion on them because they were like sheep without a shepherd. So he began teaching them many things. Late in the afternoon, his disciples came to him and said, "This is a remote place, and it's already getting late. Send the crowds away so they can go to nearby farms and villages and buy something to eat." But Jesus, there's another but. Please circle that because it's probably the most important one. But Jesus says, "You feed them." With what? They asked. We'd have to work for months to earn enough money to buy food for all those people. Now, I know I'm doing a crime here. I've stopped halfway through the story. That's as far as I want to go. That's as far as we need to go to talk about this. We want to talk about the reason why we're back together. As much as we wanted to make it about people getting together with other people who are following Jesus, as much as we want to make it about the great music, we get a chance to sing, we get a chance to listen and just worship in that way again. As exciting as that is, as what was the third one? I can't remember. Let's do the third one again. I gotta nail that one down. Oh yeah, I just want a sense of freedom again, right? And just normalcy, getting back to my life in that way. Let me throw this out. I think one of the main reasons why we gather, if not the main reason, is because people need compassion. Think about that for a second. So here it is. That first verse says, the apostles returned to Jesus from their ministry tour and told him all that they had done and taught. And here's my first thought on this. We all need to tell our story about the last few months apart, right? Don't we? We're in agony over that. We need to do that. Some are good stories, some are difficult stories, some are tragic stories, some are stories of blessing and encouragement, some of victory. As crazy as it is, there has been businesses that have closed in our town. Those are the sad stories, and you may be one of them, or been impacted by it. But there's also been businesses that have started, which is so bizarre, but yet it's happened, which is really, really cool. And those stories people want to tell. You and I want to tell them. And these guys, they went out, they had great impact on people's lives. They saw great things. They cast out demons. They healed the sick. They were able to speak truth, and people received it and turned to faith in God. But yet there was those skeptics. There were those people who maybe heckled them a little bit, or were ridiculed them, or persecuted them in some way. There's the good stories and the bad stories, and they needed to come together and need to share those stories. Everybody needs to share their stories, don't they? You who are here, I know everybody's sitting 6, 7, 8 feet apart. It's not a great environment to do that, but it's the start, right, of sharing your stories. What was it like for you the last 6 months? What did you do? Did your work stop? Did you just keep working? Did you what was that like for you? It gives us a chance to catch up a little bit. And these guys were catching up. And I'm sure we all are just aching to share some of our stories, which is cool. But the second thought I want us to think about is this. Jesus knows all about it, and he knows you and I need this environment for this. It's called rest. You ever think you would come to a church gathering for rest? I know I don't. I don't think about it in those terms, in that perspective. We need rest. Well, why? Jesus said, let's go off by ourselves to a quiet place and rest a while. I know you've got all these stories. I know you're excited. You've got all these things to share. Let's just go and rest for a while. We need a break. Who doesn't want to see this end and put your feet up and relax on a hammock, or go to Hawaii, or whatever, right? Who doesn't want to do that? We're all in that. And Jesus says we need to go and rest for a while. And after the last 6 months, we just need a break. I want to just put my feet up. I know maybe I'm wrong, but I think you may want to as well. Maybe you've had a chance to do that. I don't know. I love this about Jesus. He knows us even better than we know ourselves, and he provides this opportunity for his followers to get together for the purpose of resting together. After a long, crazy week, this is the first day of this week, but after the long, crazy week of last week, I don't know about you. I know we get to Friday and Saturday and we go, oh man, I'm glad it's over. And sometimes we just need to go to an environment where we can just know that the difficulties can be kind of forgotten for a little bit. They can be pushed aside, and we can just put our feet up and rest. And what better place than an environment like what we call the church, the gathering of the church. This is where you and I come to relax. This is where you and I hope you come to rest a little bit, that you get reinvigorated, re-energized for the next week that's right ahead of us. We need that, don't we? I don't know about you, but I need it big time. As crazy as this week, this last couple of weeks has been for me, trying to make sure all this works, all the meetings that I've had and all the connections and getting new signs. I hope you saw a sign out there, all this kind of stuff. I am so relaxed right now. I am so glad to be in this moment. As crazy as it may sound to you, and the pressure's on me because I'm the one speaking, right? Right now, I'm right where I need to be. I hope you feel that way too. I'm right where I need to be. You may have had a small business that has battled during this time. Just knows about it. You can step away from it and rest in an environment like this. You may be a single parent who has had to look after those little kiddos running around. Now school's back, and it's just been nutty for you. You know, with the buses and the standing in lines and the face masks and all of this stuff. There's only one course, one class, online stuff. All that stuff can make your head explode. I understand. I totally get it. That's why we need a moment of this rest. You may have had to take on a parent into your home or spend extra care for a parent. Oh, something that you never had to do before, and all the stresses that comes with that, and some of the engagement that you've had to have in the hospital with doctors and stuff that have been kind of postponed or canceled or put aside because of all of the other stuff that's taking place. Man, we can get exhausted from that, can't we? A place, an environment like this gives us rest. It does. Because of my life. He said in the next part of that verse, Jesus says, he said this because there were so many people coming and going that Jesus and his disciples didn't even have time to eat. Have you ever felt like that in the last little bit? You just don't even have time to sit down for yourself. Even to the point where these guys didn't even have a chance to get a bite to eat. Because things have been crazy and things have been hectic. And there's so many things you had to do that you've never had to do before. You're outside your realm of comfort, and yet you did them anyway. And now you get to a place like this, and I'm saying to you right now, I hope just find some rest here. Just relax. Put your feet up. Oh, sorry, I just did. Put your feet up. That's a Beverly Hillbillies thing, I think. Sorry, that just went through my mind. Put your feet up. Anyway, yeah, just relax. Just relax. That's where we are. Come on. There's too many things going on. There's too much busyness in your life. We need to relax. Then here's the third observation that I have that's found in verse 32. It says, it seems like there was always things to get in the way of them gathering for this rest. Things always seem to get in the way. For these guys, it was a constant distraction of all the people around them. They couldn't shake these people. They loved these people, but they couldn't get rid of them. They couldn't shake them, not even to get a bite to eat, not even a sandwich, not even a little piece of fish, which in a few hours was going to explode and feed about 10,000 people, which is so cool. But they didn't even have a bite to eat. They couldn't shake these people. Just when they thought they were going to be alone together, these people found them and actually ran ahead of them, it says. And they kind of travel along the seashore, kind of guessing where they were gonna dock again. Right now, if you're a follower of Jesus, you've been watching and hoping for opportunities to gather again. I know, I feel it. To get away from the concerns and the problems of the world around us and recharge, maybe even worship a little bit by gathering with people who are on the same faith journey as you, or people who are just stepping into this faith journey, someone that you can be encouraged by and you can be an encouragement to. Believe me, I love connecting online. I think we were blessed. The church has been given this great privilege. As much as we complain about the internet, it has been an amazing blessing to us to be able to keep doing the verbal communication every single week and helping people stay connected and keep exploring and discovering God and His Son Jesus. That has been a blessing. But to be together in the business of finding this kind of rest for me, because my soul really The fourth thing I want to observation I had was this: Jesus stayed focused, because here's where the tension begins to amount. There's people all over the place. People are running ahead of them. People are shouting from the shore, probably trying to catch up to them, asking them questions. Can you heal me? Can you heal my son? All that kind of stuff, and they don't even have time for themselves. Then all of a sudden, Jesus steps up and he shows the focus. Jesus stayed focused on the people not yet following him. They were running after him, they weren't followers yet. You see that little bit of connection? Here's what the verse said. Verse 34, it says, Jesus saw the huge crowd as they stepped from the boat, and he had, I love this, he had compassion on them because they were like sheep without a shepherd. So he began teaching them many things. You know what? It's easy for you and I to forget about the people outside our bubble. I'm going to call a church a bubble. I'm going to call a gathering like this a bubble because it's the terminology we've been using for the last 6 months. We never heard it before. We never used it before in these kind of contexts, but now we are. This is what we know. This is our bubble. We got 40 or so, 35, 40 people here today. This is our bubble. For those of you who are on YouTube, you know who your bubbles are. There are those bubbles. Let me say this. Jesus stayed focused on the people outside of him. Get that? Sometimes this gathering, this bubble, can become inward focused and stay inward focused. We want to hear the teaching, we want to hear the music, we want to share the stories, we want to gather together, we want to put our feet up. But Jesus, for a split second, he shifts gears, right? He goes from let's go and rest. There's all these people that are getting in our way, they're resting. He gets there, and then when he gets out of the boat, he sees these people. He sees the heartache, he sees the brokenness, he sees the sickness, and he goes, okay, guys, our rest is over. Why? Because now we need to focus on the outside of life. There's the tension. We are back because people need passion. We really, I'm so glad we're here. You want to know the biggest thing I missed? I haven't shared this with you yet. It wasn't that we had a chance to hang out together, tell a story, sing together, or back to normalcy, find some freedom. Here's the one thing that I'm agonized on. We are a church that wants to serve in our community. And one of the things that was taken away from us, circumstances took it away from us, okay? Nobody took it away, it was just circumstances, right? The illness and all that, it limited our ability to serve people outside our bubble. Yeah, I got that out. Good. I'm good. And that's the one thing that I feel is the compassion that we felt we needed to have as a church gathering, as a community. It was kind of taken away from us. And it wasn't anybody's fault. It was just the virus, right? And that's the one thing that I've really agonized, the one thing I've really missed. So for me today to be saying, hey, guess what? We're going to be able to serve, just a little bit. I know it's only a little bit with food and gift cards to Fresh Start, but you know what? It's doing my soul good. I hope it does your soul good too. Because we need to not just be so focused on this bubble here. We need to be like Jesus and look at the crowd, look at our neighbors, look at this community, all these houses here, the people in your life, whether it's at work, at the job site, sporting events that are now opening, school, whatever that is, those people outside our bubble that don't know Jesus yet, that's where Jesus popped his head up and went, they're like people who are wayward, they're broken, they have no shepherd, they have nobody to lead them. They're just kind of wandering around. Yeah, they're running after me, but they're not following me yet. Jesus stayed focused on the people who are not yet people outside of their bubble. Now, no doubt, those great disciples, they were going, all right, we're in our little bubble, we're with Jesus now, and everything's going to be good, and he's going to pray over us, and he's going to love us, he's going to feed us, he's going to do all this great kind of stuff, he's going to teach us and soothe our souls. And when they get to the shore, he jumps out of the boat, and he has compassion for people. He sees the sheep without a shepherd, he sees their brokenness, he feels their pain. And then what he do? He jumps into teaching, he jumps into loving mode. He's compassionate. I said that to say this. I am so excited that we're back. But here's what I want us to think of. Please keep it right up at the front of your mind. We don't just gather here because great teaching. No, I won't say that. I don't know if it's great teaching or not, but great music, right? Great music, great storytelling, great sharing. We feel relaxed. We put our feet up. We feel the freedom of this. Please, for them, it only lasted a few minutes. It could have been an hour. The boat rowed, sailed over here, and they got out. It could have been just an hour. We're only here for an hour, right? We're only here for an hour. This is our bubble now, but our bubble must be for replenishing, relaxing, replenishing, refurbishing, reigniting our vision to have compassion on people who aren't in this bubble. Never forget that. Please don't forget that. I hope you understand my heart for you. Because of this, guess what? Wouldn't it be great to have that coworker be in this bubble? Wouldn't it be great to have that family member who is so distant from God and you've had such horrible conversations with around FaceUp? They've been frustrating for you. To have them finally step into a bubble like this. Maybe not at school or church, maybe another church environment, and get into that bubble. What about someone on the athletic field, or maybe a coworker, or a teacher, or somebody, a neighbor? Wouldn't it be great? Guess what? When we come here to replenish, the purpose is because people replenish. They really do. We need our compassion. We need God's compassion working through us. So keep me accountable. Let me try my best to keep you accountable. We together can, when we leave this bubble, we can share with them the love and grace of Jesus Christ. Because Jesus, even though he was focused on those 12, he was listening to their stories. He was embracing them, handshaking, high five, whatever that all looked like. They were rowing together, probably singing sea shanties as they, went along the seashore. And then that hour was up. They docked. Jesus got out of the boat. All he could see was the people who weren't in his boat. They needed him as a good shepherd in life. It's incredible, isn't it? I don't know if you've ever thought about this story like this before, but it's really engaged me this week. And so here's what I want us to think of. Because let's just keep going. The day moved on. It became late in the afternoon. I'm trying to watch my time. I'm doing okay. The day was moving on. It was getting towards supper time, and the disciples, okay, Jesus, you've been teaching and loving on people and healing people and all that stuff. We were watching all this stuff. You know what? Now it's time. Where are these people going to go to eat? There's a lot of them. There's 5, 6, 7, 10,000 people. The Bible says there's 5,000 people plus women and children, which, people smarter than me figure there's about 10, 11, maybe 10,000 people there at that gathering on that seashore, maybe that hillside, and they're going, where are all these people going to find food to eat? Where are they going to go? They're going to have to go by to the neighboring farms and villages and buy something to eat. Here's my observation around this. It's my fifth one. It says, where did I get the fourth one? Yeah. Fifth one is this. It is born into all of us that when we recognize the need of the people around us, we tend to come up with the easy plan. Just mull that for a second. We tend to come up with the easy plan. It is almost as if we're not interested in the needs of the community. And please understand where I'm coming from that. It's almost like that we're not interested in the needs of the community around us, where God has placed us. Sometimes I feel like I'm like that. I come up with an easy plan. So for me, I'm gonna rat on myself. The easy plan for us is to kind of gather some food and get cars and give it to Fresh Start. The hard plan is to go there and volunteer to be a help and a mentor and encouragement to some of those young ladies. Oh, that's tension for me. That really is tension for me. So you see what I'm saying? One plan is good. The disciples were good. We're thinking about the needs of the people. They need something to eat. Our intention is good for Fresh Start. The people that get out there, they need something to eat. Their little kiddos need something to eat, right? That's great. But sometimes we stop there, and that eats at me a little bit. Sometimes we can come up with the easy plan, and then we settle. We get stuck with the easy plan, and we kind of feel good about ourselves with the easy plan. But here is the tough plan. This is Jesus' plan. Watch this. The next phrase in verse 37, it says this, but Jesus said, you feed them. Here's this compassionate heart coming out. I need you, you 12 guys, I need you to feed them. 5,000 people, 10,000 people. No, I want you to feed them. Right there. This is Jesus' plan. Here's the way I look at it. Jesus asked his followers to take ownership in the needs of other people. I need you to own this. I need this. That compassion is making the needs of someone else your own, right? That's when you step out. It's not just, I feel sorry for them. It's compassion actually steps out in action. It's, I feel sorry for them. How can I meet their needs? How can I serve them? How can I love them? How can I help them? How can I walk with them with my arm on the shoulder and help them walk through the struggle that they're going through? That's compassion, stepping into their lives. Jesus asked his followers to take ownership in the needs of the people around them. He says, but I want you to feed them. Could you imagine what they felt right at that moment, eh? This is nuts. But that's the rest of the story. We're not going to go to the rest of the story. Jesus was getting their attention. He was teaching them that they were to be proactive in showing his compassion for the people outside of their circle, outside of their bubble, outside of their church gathering, or their church family, or their church community. Outside of it. We need this to rest and relax and rejuvenate and replenish, don't we? I need it, you need it, we all need it. But it's for one purpose, and only for a short time, one little window. Because when Jesus steps out of the boat of this environment, he looks at the people around and who are not in his bubble yet and says, you know what? I'm going to have compassion on them because they're going to lost right now. So I'm going to ask you to be my hands and feet. I'm going to ask you to be that person, those people, to step into their lives, take on their brokenness, their needs as your own, and meet those needs. I need you to feed them. I need you to feed them. And for me, that's sometimes be a little bit daunting. I just need you for a second. I need you to think of your neighbors, one on either side, one across the road. There's only two in your neighborhood. That's only three in your neighborhood. Everybody around there is your neighbor. But just think of the two on either side and the one across the road. Okay, so that's three families. What about where you work? If you work in a construction environment, there's probably a coworker somewhere. There's a boss, there's a co-laborer somewhere in there. So there's one, two, maybe three people. If you work in an office environment, there may be somebody in a cubicle beside you, or an office beside you, or across the way. You think of all those people. What about family members? There's people that are closer to you, probably a little more distant from you. You think about them. Just put names. I've just named 9, 12, 15 people in your life, in my life, that are out, that may be possibly outside of this bubble we call the church. That Jesus is saying, I need you to feed them. I need you to give them what they need so that they can see me, not me first, but Jesus. I need you to be compassionate on them, step into their lives so that they can experience how much I love them. And that one day I'm going to die for them. And I'm going to set them free from the greatest thing that breaks against their sin. He asks his followers to take ownership in those needs. He wants them to be uncomfortable at this moment. Then they go, well, what are we going to do? Because here's how we're going to end, is this. With what? They asked him. What do we have? We've got nothing. With what? They asked. We'd have to work for months to earn enough money, and that's true. We'd have to work for months to earn enough money to buy food for all of these people. They just don't have it. Sometimes you have to step out of the box and meet people's needs in a way that are beyond us. My last observation is this. Don't be guilty of having no creativity, no imagination. I need to not be, we need not to be guilty of having no creativity. Maybe I've used a double negative there. For all the industry that has it. You don't understand this. We have to have creativity in Jesus' name. We have to be imaginative. We need to use our imagination to be creative, and we need to trust God by faith that we can do this. He will give us the opportunity. He will make it happen. He's asked us to do it. He's not going to leave us there without any resources. without any of the skill, without any of the man or woman power, the person power. He's going to make sure that that's all there. He asked us to do it. And then if you know the rest of the story, well, the kids saw the rest of the story, right? The rest of the story was a couple of loaves, a couple of small fish. He challenged them to be creative. He challenged them to be imaginative. He challenged them in their faith. Will you trust me? He asked them. He expected them. He challenged them to use their resources, their time, their strength, their energy to meet the needs of the people who are rushing around in your life. You've got those people, you know who they are, right? They're rushing around you. They step in for a minute, then they're gone. Then they're back again, and they're gone. Somebody else steps in. You know what I mean? That's what our lives are. Jesus says sometimes we come here, we need to relax, refresh, replenish for this personal purpose. We gather together each week like this so that we can have compassion. That's what these gatherings are for. They're to fill my soul just enough so I can fill someone else's soul. Does that make any sense? They're to inspire me just enough so I can inspire somebody else. They're to encourage me just enough so I can encourage somebody else. They're to feed me so I can go out and feed somebody else. That is outside my boat. That someone who doesn't know Jesus yet, who may not be a follower, but may be asking some of those questions, who God may have placed in your life for this specific reason, so that you can respond to that challenge by Jesus. I'm just going to ask. We don't have any music. I'm just lost without the words. It's 11 o'clock. Or at least this thing. So here's what I want us to think about. Over the next little while, we're gonna talk about next week's Thanksgiving. Yay for Thanksgiving! Lots of food, turkey, and whole. We're gonna talk a little bit next week. I want to invite you back. If you're on Facebook Live, thank you for gathering with us. We want to invite you back next week at 10 o'clock. But for those who can gather, we want to invite you back here. And we're going to gather. We're going to talk about another reason of why we're back. Is because we need to be thankful. There's a thankfulness that comes with being back. There's things that we need to be thankful for. We're here around Thanksgiving, but that's one of the reasons why we gather. So here's what I'm going to ask. Be mindful over the next couple of days. Think about those people in your life. Don't just think about them. Take opportunity and ask the question, has this person been placed in my life for the reason that Jesus wants me to be them? That he wants me to see them through his compassionate eyes and love on them in a way where they can see Jesus, not me, where they can see Jesus. And as a result, some of the brokenness, some of the hardship can be met and taken away as I take that risk. Thank you. I'm just going to ask you if you can stand, and we're just going to pray. There's no music to close us today, but I'm just going to ask if you can stand. Thank you for giving me this half hour or so to talk about some of this stuff. I trust it's been encouragement to you. And here's the way we're going to pray. So I'm going to make one last comment after camera guy before we're done, and then we'll shut up. Okay? So let's pray. God, thank you again for your love. Thank you for allowing us to gather here. We are so grateful to you that you opened up this amazing facility for us. We are so blessed to have it. We're so blessed to have the two proprietors in our lives to be a part of this. They're so gracious with us to offer this to us. We thank you for them. We ask your blessing on them and their families. But for everybody that's here today, I ask that you would encourage their hearts. May they go here feeling lifted and inspired and encouraged to love on people outside of their bubble for the purpose of helping those people find Jesus. And God, for the people who are watching online, that you would encourage their hearts. Let them know that we love and appreciate them, and that you love them even more than that, and that you can help them as they walk through some of these insights or these principles or some of these findings that we talked about today. And they can love on the people around them as well and help them find Jesus. God, if there's somebody here who's asking questions about you, who doesn't know you personally, not in a real way, God, that you would help them to seek somebody else and ask those questions, that we'd be able to help them find who God is through your Son Jesus. Thank you for that. God, give us a great day. Thank you for all the blessings of today. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Folks, you can be seated. So thank you so much. Online, we're going to sign out now. I'll do my Kirk out, whatever. I don't know how I got that, but it just happened one day. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week. God bless you. We off?